Hi, everyone. Ed Bixby here from the Global Green Burial Alliance with my co-host Gretchen Splutzer, and this is Spotlight Now.
Hi, everyone. It's Gretchen, and we are doing a really special interview today with Abenie DeWeaver, who lives in Nelson, British Columbia. And this is one of our favorite kinds of interviews because she's going to tell us about her experience with her partner and their family's green burial. So I'd like to introduce Abenie, and we're going to talk about it. So hi, Abenie.
Hi, thanks for
Hi.
having me and doing the work you're doing to promote people, burying people in an environmentally friendly way and also a spiritual way.
Yes, yes. We're really excited to have you. So tell us about how you got to the place of, like, and you were telling us earlier that Seamus, your partner who passed away a year ago, he did not want to be burned. That was one thing that he knew, was that he didn't want a cremation. So how did it come about that you ended up getting a green burial?
Well, Seamus was really sick last year before he died. It came on really strong that he was came on quickly. And so we hadn't really talked about death a lot, even though he had been diagnosed with the severe, stage 4 non-small cell lung cancer. And the survival rate isn't great, but he was doing super well. And we kind of just avoided we were just focused on him getting better. Then it became clear that he was very sick. 2 years later, he got really sick again. And when he was basically having a hard time even communicating, I was like, where do you want to be buried? And there's a little cemetery up where we are in Crestovo. We live in the country outside of Nelson. So near the Slocan Valley, or in the Slocan Valley. So up in Crestovo, there's a cemetery, very small. Then there's Dumont Creek Cemetery, which he and I both knew well. It's a beautiful place. And then he was born on the island of Cortez on the coast near Vancouver. And I said, we could bury you in your home, your homeland. But he said, any of those sound good, but I like the idea of Dumont Creek. So that's how it started. And Dumont Creek is strictly a green burial cemetery. It's in a small hippie community in the Slocan Valley, very wonderful place. I've lived there in the past for a bunch of years. My dad still lives there. And the cemetery is just so beautiful. Trees and a little creek and tucked away, magical, with everyone's gravestone is completely different, like a work of art. And no one's allowed to be buried injected with fillers or whatever they put in corpses.
Embalming.
Embalming fluid. Yeah. And they don't allow caskets, certainly not caskets that are varnished and lined with synthetics. So those are already the rules that gave us a framework, which we wouldn't have planned to do anyway. But that was the structure of where we buried him.
I saw the pictures, you shared them with me. It's a really beautiful little spot. How many acres is this cemetery?
I don't know.
Is it big or small?
No, it's not huge, but I actually don't know what their space is, because you drive up a dirt road and there's homes in there, but you kind of get tucked away. And so it's hard to say where the burial grounds end and the forest, the crown land begins, or private land.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it's what I really love about that place is that when we go there, there's trees and wilderness. And when my kids, who are 7 and 11, we go to visit Seamus's grave, and we can, my son climbs the trees there and they play, and they just have such beautiful memories. I feel like they're building memories that are full of sweet memories of this place where Seamus is buried. We had an Easter egg hunt there with friends this Easter, and all these things that are full of joy, so that they can connect that to their father. And it's really important to me that it not all be a miserable experience, but that life goes on and we can still celebrate life.
Yes. Yeah, it sounds really nice.
Yeah, Abenie, that sounds to me like the true definition of, what we do and what the experience offers to people and families. So after you made the decision to choose this location. Was it something that did you guys care for Seamus on your own, or did you have assistance? And was that like more of a family type of event, I should say?
Well, I have an incredible, heroic neighbor that knew Seamus from way back before I met him. Seamus and I were together for almost 13 years. But before that, and all during that time, Sarah, my neighbor here, she had dealt with this before, and burying someone, a friend of hers who was in a crisis with death and like things happening, and she needed to step in and help out. So she kind of did the same for me, because when someone's dying, and it's just so overwhelming, often especially with cancer and someone becoming really ill, and it's stressful and upsetting, and of course. So she stepped in and kind of took over that whole part for me. So when it was getting to be close to, Seamus was very clearly just fading away. It was a really beautiful death, like a very peaceful death, considering that some people with cancer have to be on morphine or in extreme pain. He was just home, and Sarah came by the night, that day. She said, like, do you think we should get she had a little freezer and ice packs, and like that she borrowed from a society here in the Kootenays, that this region that provides that for people that want to keep the body of their person at home, their loved one. So she brought the ice packs and the little freezer over to my house, put it in the garage. We were ready for in the eventuality that he would die, even still hoping for some sort of miracle, but and then I have this room that's behind me that it was February when he died. That also really helped, because I have a little dining room sunroom that I could close off and not heat, and it was really icy out there, so it was easy to keep him here. And I'm so glad that we didn't bring him to a morgue, and I'm so glad that he was home when he died. His family felt like his family really wanted him to stay in the hospital. It was like hard for me to make the choice, because he'd given me the right to make that choice to bring him home, but I'm so grateful that I did that and didn't have him die there, because then they immediately take over and would put him in a morgue, and it would be a lot harder to get the body back. I know the paperwork is a lot, because a friend of mine had to deal with that, to be like his mom then was buried at Dumont Creek. So the way it went is he died at 11 at night, and I was with him and felt his heart slow down and his breath slow down. So I was with him the moment that he died. I was lying with him in his hospital bed he had here. And a friend was with me, a friend of his, who was playing songs and singing to him. And so then we just stayed with him for a while, and then we brought him into the room, which we'd already made space in. We laid the ice packs on him after a little while, took out his catheter, kind of set him right so that he would kind of stay that way, because of course rigor mortis sets in. And he was lying on his back with his hands tucked in his chest, which he was for the last few days. And I like wrapped a shawl around his head so his mouth wouldn't just drop open, so that the kids could look at him and we could all look at him and still just see him peacefully. And and so we just did all those things, and it felt like this whole procedure of like caring for his body and feeling slowly that life go away. I also think there's lots of studies done about the energy of a human's whatever you might call it.
Yeah, their essence.
The essence. Slowly, it takes days. And so to have care for him in that and be in this peaceful state. So it was late by the time Teddy and I got to, like, he went home, I went to bed. And the next morning I woke up and told the kids who were here at home, and we went and saw him, and I said, anytime you guys want to go in there, let me know if you want me to come with you. And it was like, it's a heavy thing. I can't even imagine. Still haven't had to say goodbye to my parents.
Yeah.
Let alone when you're 6 and 10, like, but that day people came and brought us food, made a chicken, and like really close friends of ours, and we all were together. And the next day we went and dug his grave together, all of us. And we made a big altar in that room. A friend of mine set up an altar, and then with the kids, they made snowflakes for the windows. And it was really like kind of a time to be together. And it was so beautiful. And the next day we all went and dug his grave. A whole bunch of other people showed up, like different crews could come on different days, depending on their work schedule or whatever. And we dug together. And my son was like, when I said that we'll go soon to the cemetery and dig the grave, then he was like, I want to dig. And so he was in there. I've got pictures of him like just digging and digging. And
Yeah.
so I think that the thing that's really huge is that like when big things happen on our emotional level, and then we physically do something to like embody the experience,
Mhm.
then it works through so much. It's like the body
Absolutely.
holding the trauma or moving through it and having these experiences that are worked out in our physical body, through our emotional body worked out through our physical body, that then helps us process these huge things that we can't even fathom.
Yes.
Like I still am like, I can't believe that he has died and that I felt his heart stop. Like, how is that possible? But I feel like by
No.
doing all these things and sitting with him and crying, and like that's when I actually realized he had died, when I actually saw his body shrinking like that, the way that it does.
Yeah.
And so to fill a body with filler or with the stuff that they put in, I just imagine it's not helping us process the
Assimilate and
reality,
process it. Yes. I
the
know exactly what you're
realization.
saying. Yeah. It's so true. It's almost like we need to go through the doing of taking care of our loved one all the way through to the end. And when
Yeah,
that's taken away, we just miss out on so much. It sounds like what you experienced was just the perfect. I mean, it's hard and sad to say goodbye, but it sounds like the way it should be, you know?
it felt really, I was just so grateful. My friend Sam, who had had his mom die and had gone through all the challenges of getting her out of the hospital and filling out the paperwork, or maybe that was with his aunt and then they figured it out. But people who have gone before me, basically, is what I'm saying, who like guided me. And so by my friends being willing to do things outside of the norm, and by living in this community that there's so many people that do things outside of the standard procedures, or kind of just letting other people take care of it, by taking these things into our own hands in a really respectful way, and not, it's not out of a lack of responsibility. It's actually takes more, like it's kind of like questioning and then thinking maybe this could be done differently, or like actually I want to do this, and every step along the way I had someone helping me. And I think that is huge. Like
Yeah.
ultimately in this last year and during Seamus's illness, having support from the community and my friends and his friends and just saying yes to help is huge. And
Yeah.
it's so amazing what then comes from that. And yeah, burying him there, digging the grave was profoundly wonderful. Like yeah, it was amazing. And then Sam had also said to me, I lay in the bottom of the grave for my mom, and I was like, I want to do that. It just resonated with me. So I, at the moment, I decided I was going to go and lie down in, once we're finished and we're like it's ready, I lay down, and it was raining, like February cold, and I saw all my people looking down at me, and I just saw where
Wow.
he's going to be. Like
Yeah.
he's there, and I've looked up and seen where he's lying. And I just think, why not? Like that just was so beautiful. I'll never forget the image of that and this
Yeah.
rain falling on my face. And yeah, it was very important.
That's amazing. I
Mhm.
feel like too, when we lose a partner, somebody that's that close and intimate with us, that they're with us, they're so connected with us for a while anyways,
Mhm. Yeah.
that there's some shared experiences there that we're not
Mhm.
fully conscious of, but I really believe that that happens.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm so happy for you that you just
Thank
got to
you. Thank you.
experience all of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so grateful too. Like, yeah, I think I just kind of let those things come in at that point. I kind of given over trying to control the situation, figure out how to make Seamus better, all the things we were doing. And I just was like, okay, he's leading the ship here. We're all following his lead. He was like a forerunner for all of us, showing us one way to die, and
Yeah.
which we're all headed towards. And I feel like what a huge gift. It's full of sadness and challenges, and also so many silver linings and beauty.
Mhm.
I think a big part of that is how we buried him, and feeling empowered and supported by people to do that. And
Yes.
yeah, my friend Sarah filled out all the paperwork to transport him in her big pickup truck. with her partner, and they brought him and we carried him. My dad made the board that he lays on, and my friend brought a shroud to wrap him in a Mawa blanket, and it was just absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's, oh, go ahead, Ed.
Oh, no, no, no. I just, everything that you're saying, Abenie, I think the beautiful part of this is it resonates with the experiences that, I've seen families, hundreds of families realize that this capacity lies within themselves, within their DNA. They don't realize it does, but as it unfolds, it's so simply done and embraced as a true celebration of a life that was lived. So, it truly is that celebration, a memorable experience in the worst time of your life, but you're caring for your loved one as you would care for them in life, and as long as you live and you can see, Seamus lives, and anyone who knew him, he lives,
Yes.
and that's the beautiful part of this. So your children, you gave them a gift that, instead of possibly traumatizing them, with the loss of their father, they can rejoice and celebrate his memory. So I do commend you and your family and friends for the support and for you taking that challenge and doing it for him.
Yeah, I think he would be happy. Yeah, he would be happy with the way that has gone so far. And I feel like, of course, there's probably a part of it that he just orchestrated and we just followed along.
Yeah, there's so much that we don't have control over in life, that's something that death teaches us in a big way. But I just feel like when you have as much meaning in a passing that you were able to have with a full hands-on, almost as if he was there with you, laying in the grave, digging, just doing things together. It's just so important. I think one of the most important things, you said it so well, that process is something we need for our grief and the letting go and the coming to terms with death. And we've lost that in our culture. And when you get to have that like you did, it's like it's sad and you still have to go on, but it feels somehow like you did your best and it's complete, and the other way as well. I hope I did all that right. It felt kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like when it's not the experience you had, when it's something different, it's like, well, that was kind of weird, and now I got to deal with my grief.
Yeah, it's not, it's separate things. And I have no idea because I've only ever lost elderly grandparents who lived in Holland, and I didn't go to their burials. And it was a totally different thing. So I have very little experience with death besides this very close experience now. But previously I had so little experience with it. And that I don't have much comparison. But for me, I just know that this was so important in our process for healing and for processing the intensity of this experience. And it was just so profoundly beautiful and supportive, and also opening up the burial, like it was on a Wednesday in February, and there were like 100 people that came out last minute, like within 1-2 days notice. It was so beautiful, and then we just did, it was amazing. And we did have the support of an elder who was one of Seamus's teachers, and he came and did say some things, but a lot of it was just us making it together, and spontaneous singing and people saying things out loud to everyone about Seamus, and kids throwing as many we just managed to get a ton of flowers and throwing all petals on, and it was very joyful and beautiful and sad, and it was very good. It was a very good experience for me, at least.
All of it.
I wasn't a bit of a daze, of course, but
did it change you forever?
I imagined, how could it not be so huge, right? Like,
I know, right?
Yeah,
Totally. I think death is a type of initiation into deeper living,
Yeah, death is a big one. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's something we share with everyone on, and there's something we're all going to experience, not only with our loved ones, but with ourselves as well. I mean, so
Mhm.
in closing, Abenie, I mean, we really appreciate you sharing this experience, because this is what opens up the eyes of people who are interested in what we do. They think of the environmental aspects, but a lot of times they miss the emotional part. And I've been saying for years, and I'm so happy to hear you say it, and you say it from the heart, because that was the true experience. It
Mhm.
helped you through the grief. It helped your family. It helped Seamus. It helped everyone involved. So if you had any words of wisdom to any of the people watching today, as far as how this experience changed you, or how it could change others, please share. I mean, I know you've shared a lot of wonderful things right now, but the fear of the unknown is what keeps people from doing things. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
anything you could share with them as a parting words, we greatly appreciate.
Yeah, I think for sure that the beauty of death and experiencing it closely, especially if it's in a peaceful way, the way I experienced it with Seamus and his burial being so beautiful, I'm way more aware of the possibility of death in my life now, that seeing someone die so young of cancer at 45, 46 almost. And but I also feel way more connected to death in a way that is just real, instead of like an abstract thing that I actually want to just avoid. Like, it feels like it's now part of my understanding, which is so helpful. I think so much of human behavior and cultures is avoiding death, like avoidant, like this fear of death and getting old and all that, and becoming frail. And so I think just being in touch with it more can help us um, be just in touch with the reality of life, instead of trying to escape so much of what's real, which it makes us more relaxed ultimately, or more like in our bodies, and feeling safe, even though there's no true safety, and trusting the nature of life, like trusting that in that, instead of trying to escape it. Or yeah. And also a big thing, this has not so much to do with how you bury someone, but I realized as Seamus was really ill, when all the stories fell away, all the stories about, our relationship and all the many things that go on, is all that is left is the love. And that was just a hugely beautiful experience to see with him, like all that is there when as soon as you stop trying to make it change or whatever, or being upset with someone, it's just all love underneath. And that was like a profound thing that felt like it changed me. Yeah. So, and I really am I really do hope that more people can get in touch with death by being part of the process of their person's, the life leaving someone's body, and then what to do with that body. And like, I think it really is special and a huge gift for us who are still alive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You said that all very well. That's so true. Everything you said, I'm totally with you on that.
Mhm.
Yes, eloquently put. So, Abenie, thank you again for sharing this experience. Thank Seamus for allowing, you to share this experience with us. And the
Yeah.
Global Green Burial Alliance really loves and supports what you've done there. And we really appreciate allowing us to share your story with our viewers. So thank you,
Well,
Abenie.
yeah, thank you so much too. I'm so glad that you're doing this work. It seems like a good thing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abenie. Okay, well, that's it for us, and we will be back next week with somebody else to interview. I'm not sure yet who it's going to be, but thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
See you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.